Sonic Advance Trilogy was pretty successful. Sonic found a nice new home with Nintendo. Near the end of 2005, and not one to skimp on newly released hardware, Sonic made his double-screen debut on the Nintendo DS with Sonic Rush. Sonic Rush was my first DS title. I jumped into the handheld in the middle of 2006, got the DS Lite, had just enough money left for one game, saw Sonic Rush on the shelf, and said, yeah, why not? This game holds two distinctions for me personally. One, this is where I started seriously getting back into the franchise. I guess Sonic Heroes was the spark, at least when I first played it, but Sonic Rush is where I really had the time to rediscover my fondness of the series. I had a lot of free time when I was in college, and for a while this was all I played until I was able to scrap up some money for later games. And for the second distinction, Sonic Rush gave me one of my favorite characters in the whole series, Blaze the Cat. A badass that wasn't hopelessly chasing someone, looking for a frog, or obsessed with jewelry. She was a princess that did her fucking job, and was from another dimension. Another dimension! And she had fire powers too. She could ninja kick the shit out of you and save you on cremation costs as well. In this day and age where Sonic Team is still hell-bent on giving Sonic the most focus, much to the ire of modern fans, I honestly miss Blaze the Cat as a playable character the most because like how Tails and Knuckles started out, she was simply another version of Sonic with her own spin on things. That's all you gotta do for me. But here we are with Sonic Rush, and I gotta say, I dreaded the look of this video. Sonic Rush uses both screens unapologetically for classic 2D action. 1 second you're swinging around pulleys on the top screen, the very next second you're speeding down a steep slope avoiding instant death on the bottom screen. I don't find it disorienting, but look at all this negative space, goddammit. It's easier on the eyes when you're playing special stages or encountering boss fights. Those only use one screen, while the other is either a heads-up display or one of your friends cheering you on. I'm sorry, I should probably get that plot summary out of the way. Well, our new heroine, Blaze the Cat, finds herself pulled into Sonic's dimension as a result of her dimension's soul emeralds being taken by the dubious Dr. Eggman. Just think of the soul emeralds as a different set of chaos emeralds. Now, because the soul emeralds and chaos emeralds are in the same plane of existence, the very fabric of time and space is ripping to shreds, prompting Sonic and Tails to head to action. But they got their own problems to deal with. Dr. Eggman Nega, the Eggman of Blaze's dimension, he's after the chaos emeralds. Pretty much both of the Eggmans are working together to secure both sets of emeralds for total domination on both Sonic's dimension and Blaze's dimension. The two heroes team up, but not without some initial rifts. Blaze feels it's her responsibility alone to get the emeralds, doesn't really trust anyone. Sonic thinks she needs to open up more and let others help her, blah blah blah. The real power of teamwork, supersonic boss battle at the end. Blaze heads back to her dimension. Fuck you, Sonic 06. We're dealing with two scenarios, one with Sonic, the other with Blaze. Sonic is the standard shit. It's technically a different Eggman, but it's still one giant chase through different zones, watching as the villainous Doctor always manages to just get away with Sonic snapping his blocky fingers. Blaze is mainly a fish out of water story. She doesn't know what happened, where she is, or where to go, but she soon befriends Cream the Rabbit because you're a fucking monster if you're not friends with Cream the Rabbit. The two travel together in search of the emeralds. Blaze is initially cold and distant, but eventually warms up to everybody. I mean that figuratively. She doesn't actually incinerate anyone with her fire powers. That'd be some ending though. The stories are told through a lot of text with portraits, and in part kind of makes the whole plot feel bland. It's only at the end of bosses and before the finale where we get real-time cutscenes, and I think having more of this would have made the plot, however familiar, more entertaining. But I'm aware it's a DS game, so I shouldn't have expected something of a similar caliber to the 3D titles. No, the only three-dimensional things we have here are Sonic, Blaze, and the boss fights. Mostly everything else is sprite-based, sort of a weird hodgepodge. Yeah, normally in 2.5D games, everything is a polygon. It's merely the perspective that's 2D, but they kept the backgrounds and all that sprite-based. I don't think it's bad, and I really can't study it anyway when you're constantly breaking the sound barrier. It's called Sonic Rush for a reason. For the first time, Sonic has the boost feature. Dimps must have adored the kind of speed you could reach in Sonic Advance 2, so they gave us immediate access to it. The bar on the side of the screen represents your tension gauge. It fills up when you destroy enemies and such. With the press of a button, Sonic or Blaze will blaze in whatever direction they're facing. The more you have in your tension gauge, the longer you can hold the boost, and in this form you're invulnerable to everything except spikes, crushing obstacles, and one of the many bottomless pits. If there's one thing I will immediately knock Sonic Rush's design for, it's the lack of design. I don't know, maybe development was rushed, but I can't recall any other Sonic game at the moment that has as many pits as this game does. And you always fall into them in those do or die situations. This game just loves placing you in towards the second half of the game. But much like Sonic Advance 2, this game is all about the speed, only now it's like speed with crack. It's almost non-stop, and when things do slow down, it's only for some awkward, borderline obstructive platforming. This is the first game to incorporate the stop-on-a-dime control scheme that I gave Sonic the Hedgehog 4 Episode 1 so much shit for. At least in this game, it feels like this was sort of designed around that, so it's easier to swallow, but it's no less stiff when you're required to make narrow jumps in a life-threatening scenario. Blaze can have an easier time, sporadically. Both characters travel through the same levels, but Blaze goes in a different order, leading to a distractingly schizophrenic difficulty curve. She's not quite as fast as Sonic, but she can hover in midair for a few seconds to get your bearings on platforms, and she gets way more airtime when performing trick jumps. Oh, and I hope you like doing trick jumps, by the way. They're the best way to get your tension gauge maxed out. You just press buttons when launched off of a ramp or spring. They're super fucking easy to execute and chain together, and I love seeing Sonic and Blaze in motion when performing tricks. It's like I'm dancing to the sick beats of this game's soundtrack, and goddamn Sonic Rush's OST is great shit. I never played Jet Set Radio, but Hideki Nakanuma's contribution to this score makes me want to try it out at some point. It's funky as shit, and Sonic knows that too. Look at him bust that move. Now I recommend listening to the original Groove Rush variations. That way you can get a better appreciation of the songs, because in-game, you can barely hear the fucking songs amidst all the goddamn tricks you'll be constantly doing. I appreciate the round of applause, guys, but Christ, calm your asses down. It's the same shit I just did a few seconds ago. But that's what this game's all about, building that tension meter and zooming at the speed of sound. It's all about the style in Sonic Rush, with only a dash of real substance, something to definitely experience but gives you little reason to replay it. It's boost here, boost there, don't die here, and oh fuck my hand! Some levels have their own gimmicks for sure, but they're all second bananas to the sense of speed Sonic Rush really wants you to relish in, which unfortunately makes the slow parts all the more egregious. I mentioned the platforming already, but other times you're locked in a room with baddies and you can't leave until they're all destroyed, and mother of god, these boss fights are the worst of the worst. They take so long. They're just waiting games. You wait for the boss to reveal his opening, you get to hit it once, and then you gotta sit through a number of attack animations where you can't damage it at all, and sometimes they like to chain that shit together. It's the most frustrating part of this game. Surprisingly, I thought that honor would once again go to the special stages, but I'm glad to see Dimps learned how not to be dickheads when going after the Chaos Emeralds. You enter special stages by locating one of these special pulleys and boosting them long enough until you're taken away. It's very simple to do given how easy it is to build the tension gauge in this game, and to make it even better, every stage has multiple copies of these entry points, giving you multiple attempts at getting the elusive gems. I mean, seriously, that's much more like it. And for the special stages, well, yeah, they're the half pipe again, but like Sonic Advance 2, they're remarkably easy, and I think a large part of that has to be because of the control scheme. You guide Sonic left or right with the stylus, giving you ultra precise movement. You can effortlessly line Sonic up with rings or between bomb chains for some easy emerald hunting. It's a complete 180 from last time. It feels good. I mean, you can only use Super Sonic in the final stage again. Oh, what? The sky is blue? Oh, fuck. But yeah, that's Sonic Rush. It's great to blast through and not a very long game, but when you take a step back, its speed is all it has going for it. You platform every once in a while, you're not really encouraged to explore anything. I like the game, but it's also been some time since I last replayed the whole thing front to back. Style over substance will do that to a game, and I think someone in development was aware of that because in 2007 they made Sonic Rush Adventure. Adventure, implying a grand journey, and in Dimp's eyes that means a whole lot of shit. Well, we got a story first, and I won't spend long with it, not much happens here. Sonic and Tails are caught up in a storm, causing them to crash land in parts unknown. They're discovered by newcomer Maureen the Raccoon. She's loud, she's annoying, and brace yourself, that's the only joke they have with her. Soon Sonic and Tails discover that they've ended up in Blaze's dimension, reuniting with the Purple Cat when they butt heads with the new big bad of the game, Captain Whiskers. Wow, I mean, they're not even trying to be fucking clever here, and he looks so small compared to the portraits of the other characters. He doesn't even get full body shots, his arm's just awkwardly cut off. And who names their henchman Johnny? That's an asshole's name. Anyway, Captain Whiskers is looking to rule the Seven Seas with the help of the Jeweled Scepter, a prized relic of Blaze's dimension. Sonic and Blaze won't have any of that, put an end to a scheme, lol Dr. Eggman at the end. I mean, if you didn't see that coming, I don't know what to tell you. And I'm honestly not skipping a whole lot with that half-ass summary. There's a fuckload of text once more, but it's a lot of, ooh, look at this, ooh, look at that, and the same tired-ass joke of Marine being an annoying-ass clown. Now, there's more dynamic cutscenes to be fair to the game. I think they realized in the middle of development that they needed a reason to get people to continue, and seeing Sonic and Blaze in 3D action during some downtime is visually pleasing. I don't think Sonic Rush Adventure is a bad game, just filled with a lot of hot air. I picked this game up right when it came out, but never finished it until this video. The reasoning behind that? Let's get into it. Sonic Rush Adventure is packed, and I mean packed, with a lot of 2D action and challenges that those who enjoyed the high-speed thrills of the first Rush game are sure to enjoy. From minecarts and coral-filled caverns, high-flying action on top of a floating fortress, non-stop speed through countless loops, to at its base, Sonic Rush Adventure continues to provide what made Sonic Rush a success, but in between all that is sailing. Yeah, sailing. Didn't think I'd be giving you a sneak peek of my Wind Waker video in a Sonic game, but here we are. To advance to the next stage, you have to sail to that next stage using one of the eventual 4 vehicles you unlock: a jet ski, an ocean liner, a hovercraft, and lastly a submarine. But to even make those vehicles, you need materials, which are awarded to you when you finish a stage, the amount determined by how well you performed. And unless you brought your S game on your first run, building shit requires replaying previous levels for the right materials. Grinding, in other words, in a Sonic game. Afterwards, you board the vehicle of choice, draw your pathway to the island, and then play a sailing game game as you make your way towards the destination. These aren't terrible, they play perfectly fine, it's just these are clearly just here to fill the time because apparently Sonic Rush was considered too short. So in true Sonic Team fashion, they put non-Sonic shit into the mix to make people think they're getting their money worth. This was the reason I didn't finish this game at first. It's tiring having to sift through all these text boxes, the grinding, the sailing. I expect this in an RPG, but not in a 2D Sonic game. At least once you visit an island, you can warp back to it at any time by selecting the stage select, so that's nifty. But to get more out of the game, you have to put up with all this stuff. Locating hidden islands with the right vehicle, sailing for plot important items, upgrading your vehicle to race Johnny to get the Chaos Emeralds. The good thing is you can retry these special stages with no consequence by revisiting the spot on the map or simply pause the game and hit retry. But in order to even have a chance against this cheating asshole, you have to upgrade that damn jet ski twice. I found myself grinding boss battles a lot. They're better than the first Rush game, you're not playing the waiting game as long at least, but having to replay them on a repeated basis for materials and when you have to beat them as Blaze to get soul emeralds kinda negates that half-hearted praise in the first place, doesn't it? My problem with Sonic Rush Adventure is not the core game's quality because when looking past the in-between shit, it's still an exhilarating 2D Sonic game. I find the stages themselves fun to go through, they eased up on the bottomless pits thankfully, I think the aesthetics are top notch. If Rush Adventure was just this, the zone and mission based challenges, hell, I might have considered this to be the better Rush game. But it's got adventure in the name and that means extra shit that nobody fucking asked for, leading to the overall game being bogged down to a pace that ain't no Rush I ever heard of. I want to love this game, but I can't. But hey, if you're the kind of person who never minded the other stuff from the adventure games, then this just might be your handheld Sonic game, who knows. But the video title says Trilogy, so we got one more game left to cover. It doesn't have Rush in the name, but make no mistake, Sonic Colors in the DS is essentially the third Rush game, just look at it. At this time, Sega was done making original handheld Sonic games, decided to rock it like it was 1991 and just make handheld versions of whatever console Sonic game was current at the moment. In 2010, that was Sonic Colors. As for the plot, it's almost one-to-one the console story with Eggman's interstellar amusement park, the little aliens called Wisps that Sonic must rescue that can grant him special abilities, all the different planets that Sonic can travel in. There's one major difference in the end game where the finale is not a confrontation with Eggman, but rather the mother of all Wisps corrupted by Eggman shenanigans. Who else thought King Jellyfish from SpongeBob, right? Essentially, it's an excuse to give the game a Super Sonic ending, something the Wii game didn't have, but I didn't mind the exclusion to be honest. At least the Wii game let you use Super Sonic as stages after getting the emeralds. It's the same old end game only stick here. Another difference are the extra missions where Sonic can run into almost all of his friends from past adventures to complete challenges, from the Chaotix team, Shadow, Omega, and Rouge the Bat to Silver. Oh fuck, here we go. The future's been fixed, right? Why the fuck is he here? And why is Blaze with him? Are they trying to pay respects to both Sonic Rush and Sonic 06? Because I can tell you right now, yeah, what that guy said. Despite Blaze making an appearance, you never get to play as her in this game. Like the Wii version, this is strictly a Sonic-only show. And the gameplay could be best summed up as Sonic Rush with color powers. There's been a few changes to the formula though. Those that actually like listening to the background music, and I do love Sonic Colors soundtrack, can celebrate that the trick system has been completely removed. Yeah, okay, fucking stop. Instead, boost power is obtained by collecting white wisps, or by destroying enemies, which there are plenty of. Sonic can wall jump in vertical shafts, slide under low-hanging ceilings, perform boosts in mid-air, and perform a ground stomp to get his ass back on the floor at a quick pace, and thank God! Going back to Sonic Rush gameplay, I had to battle with muscle memory all the fucking time. I couldn't ground stomp, mid-air boost, wall jump. I played too much Sonic Unleashed, Sonic Colors on the Wii, and Generations. And to head back to the progenitor of the boost gameplay, it was tough and awkward at points, but starting with Colors DS, I felt a little more at home. The homing attack was something always in the Rush series, but it was mapped to the R button and unreliable to chain combos with. It felt like a last-second inclusion. But here it's been given more prominence, accuracy, and reliability. It's got a target reticle and all that. And bonus points to the DS version, you can homing attack on Wisp capsules, something you couldn't do in the Wii version, which always confused me. Now, as for the color powers, Laser, Rocket, and Drill, well, those all work exactly the same as the console game, but the DS version has two exclusive Wisps. There's the Burst Wisp, letting Sonic jump multiple times in the air while destroying everything around him. Kinda reminded me of the Space Jump from Metroid, only this can nuke everything in sight. Then there's the Void Wisp, turning Sonic into a black hole that sucks in whatever is close to him. It's like a precursor to the Asteroid Wisp from Sonic Lost World. Though like the Asteroid Wisp, it's a little clunky to control. Moving up and down and turning tight corners is almost painfully sluggish. Certain wisps are generally favored in one specific planet, and like the Wii game, you're encouraged to revisit other stages once you unlock more wisps, to find goodies like extra lives or red rings to unlock bonus content in the options menu. So if you're not a fan of a certain wisp, you at least don't have to worry about them overstaying their welcome, unless it's like the Drill Wisp, because that shit is all over Planet Wisp. You know, I know handheld versions of console games have a certain stigma to them for not having the same detail or budget, but I think this is a really solid Sonic game, and if I were to rank the Rush games, this ranks right up there with the original game. My only major downside is the lack of Blaze, because I think she's an established part of the Rush lineup, but she's only a glorified cameo here along with everyone else. I love that the game utilizes the modernized boost formula with all the additional tricks Sonic could do in Sonic Unleashed. There's no in-between fluff between stages, you just go to the next one like so when it's available. Boss fights can take no time at all if you play your cards out with the color powers. Chaos Emeralds are simple to obtain. It's the classic complete the stage with at least 50 rings to enter the special stage, but this game just throws rings and extra lives at you. Check that life count, that shit doesn't lie. Though I do think the special stage is going a little long if I'm being honest here, and it's the half pipe again. I know I complained about it enough already, but I'm still tired of this, and I fucking... Unless you're playing the optional missions that love to kick you in the balls looking at you, Asteroid Coaster. I found Sonic Colors DS to have just the right amount of difficulty. It isn't swarmed with bad enemy placement, spikes, or bottomless pits. This is a damn comfortable game that doesn't overstay its welcome, and anyone who loves this style of Sonic should definitely play it. Honestly, I find it neck and neck with the Wii game in terms of quality. It's only missing the Eggman PA announcements.
This amusement park has been constructed entirely out of a sense of remorse for my past transgressions, and is in no way associated with any sort of evil plot or premeditated misdeeds.
Alright, let me think here. What other handheld stuff was left to cover? I did Generations 3DS in a previous video. I did Lost World 3DS with the Wii U game. The Sonic Boom stuff. Oh, there's the Sonic Rivals games on the PSP. Racing games, though. The Sonic's got his share of those, believe me. You know what? Fuck it. Why don't we just look at all the racing games next time? Sonic Drift, Sonic Riders, Sonic Rivals, All-Stars Racing Transform. Hey, you know, it's not like I lost my mind covering all those Street Fighter games for that retrospective, and I know some of you enjoy my longer videos, so next video should be pretty beefy. Afterwards, I really don't want this current marathon to go beyond February, early March the latest, but with the release of the Nintendo Switch, I really want to head back into Zelda. But I know I got some unfinished business with Sonic, and after the racing stuff, I only have 2 planned videos left with the Blue Hedgehog for this marathon. Now what games are those? You'll find out next time. Thank you all for watching, have yourselves a fantastic night, and take care.